Good morning. I want to answer the most commonly asked question. And it's a fair question. With all of the information out here today, in the information age, all of the things that people say, who have supposedly studied the subject extensively and they have the scholastic credentials to be able to speak on this, and I'm just a brother from the deep. How do I know? How do I know that the Messiah is the way, the truth, and the light? And how much emphasis should we put on exactly what the name is? Well, that, according to Scripture, is relative. In this respect, the Most High says, I am he that judges thee by thy reins and thy heart. Sometimes you have to think beyond yourself. We can be a little self-centered. We're raised in a self-centered society to teach you, I got to get mine, you got to get yours. So in this society, it's not uncommon for people to believe that, well, my way is the right way. And if we really looked at things beyond our own personal preferences and our own personal body of knowledge, which, for each of us is minuscule compared to the body of knowledge of the ancients, of some of the elders in your family, if you're really honest with yourself. You see, knowledge has increased, wisdom has not. We don't listen to the elders the way that, folks used to. You have to listen to the elders. Now there's an option. People put the elders away. So when I say what I have to say, one of the main things that made me look back at the foolishness of my youthfulness was the way I thought I knew more than my grandma knew. Because she would do something I would not do. She would call on Jesus. And according to the books from academics, scholars, philosophers, teachers, professors, all of the people that we're supposed to put our belief in, all of the people that we are encouraged to define as the credible sources in this world. Not your grandma. My grandma, she wasn't a reader. She wasn't a writer. Okay? So how could she be right? And I could read and write and spell and... Are you starting to feel what I'm going to? There is an ism that people don't talk a lot about. People talk about socialism, they talk about racism. But people don't talk very much about elitism. Okay. Intellectual supremacy. Okay. The belief that because you've been educated in school, and it's known by many names, it's really connected to classism. Although now even, those of us folk who don't come from the upper class, we have more access to information. And by this knowledge, we've been fooled into believing that we are going to set ourselves free, raise ourselves much higher than our elders did. Interesting, there's a bird. A bird just landed in the middle of the flow. He's walking this way. But we don't believe that our elders had something that we don't have. They had a lot of things that some of us don't have. If we really look at it properly, you may have money, you may have more knowledge of things, what the world says is the truth about different things, but you don't have the experience. Experience takes years. Nor do you have some of the things that they acquired simply by approaching the subject of the Most High with respect, with reverence, and with humbleness and humility. Now, I'm not saying that all of you don't do that. Some of you do that quite well. That's what inspired me to do this one more time, because I feel I've given this testimony a number of times, and I don't want to bore those of you who've been here before, or those of you that's been here for a while. You know, I don't think that it's right to have to keep going back to this, except for the fact that it's an honest question. All right. So how do you come to accept, with all of the things that we're told about Jesus being Jesus? Okay. With Christ relating to Krishna. Okay. With the Bible, we're told, coming out of Egypt. And those that really know, you can take it back to, you know, that really know what scholars say. Then we want to go back to Hammurabi for the laws of Moses. Then there's some dispute. Some will say, well, no, there's nothing older than Kemet. Then some will go ahead and connect Summer to Kemet, like was done in the teachings of Dr. York, which I was not only acquainted with. I went down to the land on 2 different occasions and dropped more than $1,000 just on buying scrolls, so I can bring them back up here. Scrolls that wasn't here in the official class that was set up here in Detroit. Brother West Chill used to teach that class. I wanted it in my hood. Okay? And so I did what I could, and I made it happen. And I came up here and I began to teach it. And I would have 15, 20 people in my basement at any given time, breaking down the word Jesus and what it means, the many different things, because you'll hear one thing from one source, another thing from another source, all to discredit, always discrediting it. Okay? Then about the Bible, the different stories in the Bible, the flood story, where, you know, we can take that back to the Epic of Gilgamesh. I know these things like the back of my hand. That's knowledge. You can give a child knowledge. Is all knowledge good? We're going to get back to it. But I got to get this out. Well, I don't have to get it out no more. From now on, I can point people to this video, and then we're going to keep it moving. You can teach a child things of this world. People do it all the time. That's knowledge. You can teach a child an entire rap song. You can teach a child the ABCs. You can teach a child another language. A child can hear you speaking profane language. They pick up on it. Their ability to learn is unmatched. Their ability to learn knowledge. Some children are able to get on the internet and look up things beyond your back. Okay? Because you let them have it like that. They have the freedoms, see, the liberty and the knowledge, just like Lucifer wanted to give in the very beginning. Okay? And is that good? So this is what we say when we look at the issues with knowledge. See, people think there's nothing wrong. You know, it's all good. There's no downside. Okay? That's the downside. The downside is you can be taught something that will be used to destroy you and lead you down a bold road. That's what has happened to the game we've been sold and told. The brotherhoods and the powers that be, both black and white and others, because there are others. But we talk about the chessboard game to try to get people to have some game and overstand, not just understand, but truly to understand the game that's being played on you, so that you don't have to play unless you choose to. These brotherhood members have figured out that if we give the people a certain knowledge based on what we believe, and if all of our members are placed in positions that people in society are taught to believe are the positions of influence, and well, they are the positions of influence, but the positions that one can only attain by being a master at something, by being a star at their given profession or at their craft. Okay? People believe that you get to the highest heights, you know, that you become a professor, you know, you put out books, you do lectures, because you are the best at what you do. Now, a lot of young people are starting to overstand that this is not true. I heard, I think it was Megan Good in that interview say how it used to be that fame was a byproduct of being good at what you do. Now, they give you the famous position based on your status and who you knew. It ain't what you know, but it's who you know. So when you crack open a book that teaches you all about ancient religion, teaches you all about, and I'm talking about even Dr. York books, when you crack open a book, you better believe, and I'm talking about this book has been well received, it's a well traveled, they call themselves the traveling man for a reason. You're gonna work me up this morning. But when you crack open one of them books and you see the bibliography, look at the sources for the information in that book, look at who published the book, look at the name of the author, you better believe that the Brotherhood was behind allowing this book to be taught in college, allowing this book to be sitting up somewhere in a bookstore, allowing this book to be circulated Amazon books or through Kindle. The Brotherhood's job is to control those areas of society because they know that those are areas of power and influence. So are you that game goofy to believe that they just left it in a book and just trusted that you was too stupid to read it? No. They don't just put malt liquor and menthol cigarettes out here to kill the simple. They're concerned with the complex too. They're concerned with the conscious more so. And they know they can get you with knowledge. So they taint the knowledge and play games. The knowledge is tainted. You can't believe it. But see, they play off the elitism that's in you. They play off your desire to want to be higher than the next man. Yeah, I was going to go check out Kim because Kim does things for the homeless. I've helped out at that concert. The one time I went to help out. Okay? But then a few things didn't sit well with me. One of the main ones was it's no longer free. That keeps the main people it's supposed to be for from having access. Not only was it not free, but they moved it way down the way. Too far from where the homeless population stay. So, and then aside from that, I thought about that concert crowds is one crowd that I believe these devils are going to soon spray. Have mercy. Not just bombard you with negative energy. Okay? And I believe that's all I have to say, because what's overstood ain't got to be explained on that. But my point is, there's an elitism that runs through the intellectual. And the devil figures out how to get everybody by using the best bait for them. He know he can entrap you in Egypt the same way he entrapped them, because they were scholarly and in pursuit of knowledge and power and magic. And so are you. the knowledge and the power and the magic that you've been exposed to has been tainted. Because the true origins, the 100% raw cut, is the cut that you can't get. You can't go over there and see it and read it. You have to rely on them to translate to you what it says. You have to rely on Brotherhood members to tell you what it says. Don't play no games. You couldn't even pronounce the names unless they told you what the pronunciation is. They telling all y'all is Kemet, and it could not be Kemet. It would have to be Kamat, which makes sense if you knew what Ka meant and what Mat meant. Don't play no games. You used to teach these things. That's one way of entrapping the intellectual in Egypt. Then, for those who's too slick for that trap, they have another one. For those folks, they say, well, and the one pillar is the Almighty. I heard you. But they say, okay, so is his name Yeshua? Is it Yeshua? Is it Emmanuel? It can't be Jesus. Now I'm going to give my testimony on this one last time. But before I give my testimony on it, I'm going to see if common sense can work on you. I've said it before. I got to say it again. I'm sorry, Ken. Sorry, family. But, you know, when you see someone new in the class and they have a question that they need to ask, it's not a question I'm going to go past. So if you see it down in the comments section, that's something I believe you can do. You know, if you already know, you've already heard me say, you know, you already know where I'm going to go with it. Some of you, not just a teacher of soldiers, I'm a teacher of teachers. I know it. So therefore, here we go. My mama didn't name me Unplug 'em. She named me Theodore, and she said reluctantly, she said, I didn't want to name you that old long name. She said, that was your daddy and your granddaddy, who both named Theodore. All right? Granddaddy was the only person to ever call me Theodore. My daddy called me Little Ted. My mama never heard her say Theodore, unless she was taking me to school to register or something. She talking to them, but she ain't never said it to me in my entire life. You know, they say your mama get mad, say your whole name. Never happened. It's never happened to me. She get mad and just say Ted, real serious like. Okay? My granny, I know I said it wrong before. You talk enough, you gonna misspeak sometime. My granny, she called me Teddy, and so did my beloved auntie, who used to try to teach me about the Bible like I'm trying to teach y'all, and I say the same things to her that y'all be saying to me when I was 21, 22, 23. I'm 41 years old. Again, I overstand, and I'm not, this is not, please believe, this is not aimed at anybody in particular, okay, because I believe I know y'all, okay. Prime, you good with me. Sister Son, you good with me, okay. But this is to break through a particular spirit. There's a spirit on the earth, the spirit of Antichrist, Karast, Karishna, whatever. But let me get to my point, because not only did they call me those names, but I began to rhyme seriously at 16. I started at 13, got serious at 16. Had a DJ Switchblade. I was Jackknife and DJ Switchblade. It had a good ring to it, we thought, for hardcore underground hip-hop. Stuck with me. Some people to this day still call me Jack. One or two of them, like my homeboy Razak, he called me Jay. So the people I grew up with called me T. When I was in middle school, the Cosby Show came out, got popular. What they start calling me? Okay? So, with all of those different variations of my name, some of them ain't got nothing to do with what my mama said it was, and my daddy. But with all them different variations, if you call me one of them names and I'm in the vicinity, I got sense enough to turn around and see as you talking to me. So you don't believe that of the Holy Trinity? Come on. Or would you rather believe that because you have found something, I found it. It's a selfish thing. It's a self-centered thing. I found it. So it makes me better than grandma, better than auntie, better than pulling them down the street. See, you wouldn't do like I did, go out on the porch and teach pulling them down the street. Okay? And some of that, of course, to this day, I now regret because I realized I hadn't quite got it yet. I had what they said in the books down pat. Well, they said that the Bible came from this, and they said that this, that, and the third. But this was the part I hadn't quite gotten yet. Check it out. Let me see how much game you got. Even Dr. York said in the beginning, you had Enlil, Enki, Anu, the Anunnaki crew. Anu, the Most High, Ki, earth, and Na, down. Like your na-na's down. Yeah, that's where it come from. Il na-na, sit down there. Anunnaki, those who the Most High, they was calling Anu, sent down to earth. I remember these things like the back of my hand. I taught them every day. I used to crush people with them because they didn't have this game. Okay, and I'm giving the young dogs this game so they can get them. And they'll never be confused again. So the Anunnaki, we now find out we was lied to about who the Anunnaki was. Yes, we was. All you know is one source of information. You haven't even done a scientific study of it to where you look at the different reports about one thing. Okay? It's as if you heard it was a hurricane hit Detroit. And you heard it from Fox News and you were sold on it. No. You see what MSNBC say. You see what the Weather Channel say. You see what the Huffington Report say. You see what alternative news that has totally different views on YouTube say. Then from that collection of information, as if you're a wise and civilized scientist, you might just be a game goofy goober and want to act like you know everything. But if you really want to rightly divide, then you have to be able to look at different sources of information. You say, okay, so judging by what this says here, this is probably what really happened, because it doesn't make sense that a hurricane will hit Detroit. You feel me? I mean, we are off the river, but it just, things don't work like that. Heart can make things happen. But you get my drift. So from one source we hear that the Anunnaki was good guys and they was black. Everybody else is saying something different about that. Okay? It ain't just water in my head up under this hat. I said, well, okay, somebody lying. Dr. York switched up so many different things, so many different ways. I followed him. I went down there. Read his books, taught his information. Can't tell me nothing about it. And I use him as an example because they used him as an example too. But because he represents what the black boule teach everybody. That's how George Clinton and them was on it. They wasn't reading Dr. York books. They was all teaching. They were all teaching what they had been taught, the same thing. They had all been taught the same thing in the secret societies, in the boule. X-Clan read Dr. York and they just went off with it too. No. When you get into the boule, they teach you a certain way. And this is what they teach you. Now, this is what you don't get because you don't have enough game. You got knowledge, you don't have wisdom. Wisdom come over a period of time. This is what you don't get. What they teaching you, because you ain't looked beyond the surface. You like how it look, you think it's pretty. Look at the gold, look at the colors, like a child. When I was a child, I spake as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. I looked into it. So now what do they believe? You hear people talking backward and forward and round in circles. No, fool, tell me exactly what they believe. You got to get into some funny business to really find out. That's right. You better look into what Crowley said. You better look into what Blavatsky said. Not just somebody that's flattering you, going upside your head with flattery. It's you. Look at how beautiful they are. Are you the type that somebody can just flatter and run some game on? I hope not. You're going to have a hard time in this life. So you better look at the other side. You better look at somebody that's criticizing you. They tell you, man, you need to lose a couple pounds. Bruh, them shoes is jacked up. It's time for you some more shoes. You want somebody to always feed your flattery. That ain't the only side the truth come from. Come on, let's talk. Let's jam. So you have to look at the other side. I began to question, because I'm not the dullest bulb in the lamp. I said, they were so, the way I thought about it, they were so on status and the baddest. What happened? People started telling me things wasn't making sense. With a caveman, see, they had lost their ability to fight and they wasn't focused on war anymore. And they supposed to have verbs of power, magic words of power. Come on, don't play no games with me. Don't tell me, listen, don't take a wizard on my lizards and tell me it's raining. So I started looking around, look around. See what else could be found. And what I found started to put a whole new game down. What I found was, this is the key to magic. Reading the Metu Netter really helped me out too. You wouldn't read that, it's too complicated for you. It's not pretty, ain't no pretty pictures in it. You read that Metu Netter if you really want to know what time it is with Kemet. So you can get in touch with Asur and Aset. That's what you need to do. Because until you get in touch with them and you invite one of these deities to you, I guess you're going to believe what the devilish brotherhood writers tell you is true. Because of course I could never know. Who told me? The Pope? Okay, enough of that. You'll find out those are spirit beings, demons, in disguise. And they come to you looking just like that. They don't have no masks on. I know a brother experiments with the Amanita muscaria, which is the mushroom. They believe it's a science to the mushroom. You can believe all kind of goofy stuff if you want to. But at the end of the day, you're even dealing with the most high or the most low. That's it. And the most low know how to disguise his skit. And he know just what to dress it up with. Because you be simple. You love simplicity like a nitwit. So let's move on. Now this is the testimony. And this is how I know about the word Jesus. After all of what I believed, couldn't stand to hear my grandma say Jesus. Couldn't stand it. I tell you, it was that spirit in me. It made me upset, made me mad. It really did. She wouldn't even be talking to me. She'd be on the phone. Well, thank God for Jesus. And I'd be in the back like, she goes saying that. His name was not that. It couldn't have been that. They don't even know if he existed. Full of a something. Okay? That's what it took for me. I'd take something like this for you. I'm on the horn talking to this chick who I had no business dealing with. She was married. You know how it go. People be in it. And yes, of course I've repented. You ain't God. I've been talking to the Most High about this because I realized why everything had to get so dramatic. Because I was wrong as two left shoes. Okay? So we creeping around. We thinking it's cute and it's funny. I'm still really lingering on the magic, although he had already, the Most High had already gave me another experience. It wasn't as cold as that. I think I told y'all that one before too. We ain't gonna go through that one right here, right now. But just know, this ain't my first rodeo. This is 2002 or 3. So we had pet name for each other because we knew he was doing it wrong. And she tried to be in the church and whatnot. I didn't try to be in the church. I tried to break down the real meaning, and the Roman Catholic Church came up with all of this, and Constantine, and all of that stuff. The Council of Nicaea. I don't think I could read, man. I'm gonna quit doing these. You keep messing with me. Knew all these things. Also had an extensive knowledge of different types of demons. And I said, this is the sex demon here. Talking about her. So I started calling her succubus. And I taught her, I said, the male sex demon is the incubus. And she said, well, you one too. She started calling me the incubus. That's probably what I had going on. But let me show you how almighty and supreme and graceful and merciful the Most High is if you'll bow down your silly self to him and throw all them foolish things you got in your head out and let him show you what time it really is. All the stuff you've been taught by books, educated fools. And one as educated as me, I bet you. Part 2.